Today's episode of If We Ran Nintendo is brought to you by Another Castle, a book by N64 Josh. If you head over to n64josh.com/anothercastle, now you can get the first chapter of the book for free. It is available via ebook and an audiobook. Go check it out now.
If we ran Nintendo.
If we ran Nintendo.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 144 of If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the greatest co-host in all the land, Mr. Sean Capri.
Bobby, I have new glasses.
I see.
They're
Everybody
huge.
can see.
They're
Everybody
huge.
can see.
They're giant.
You
They
are
look-
like the little diva, man. You gotta be like, look at me, look at me.
I haven't got new glasses in like a decade, dude. It has been a long.
What's that?
It has been a long time. It's my fault, so I'm
You're
excited.
busy buying video games, man.
Well, look at this is the thing. In Canada, you have to pay for glasses, much like you have to in America.
Oh!
Okay.
So when you realize what it's like to how the other half lives, you're like, I'm not gonna buy glasses.
Exactly. I'd be like, oh, I guess I'm not fixing my broken arm. That's basically what it's like.
Wait a minute. So how's that not considered like healthcare?
It's not. It's just like it's regular medicine. Well, not even like you still have to pay for medicine. Do we need to do like a what's the difference kind of episode?
Probably should.
Like, okay, let's say this: I get in a car accident, or like let's say I fall down the steps and I break my ankle,
Yeah.
or I like smash my face in, or something like that.
Okay.
They take me to the hospital and
Yeah.
they give me a scan. They give me like an X-ray. Everything's taken care of. They give me a cast. They cast everything up. I don't pay anything. They put screws in my bones to hold everything together. Everything's taken care of. But I paid for that ambulance ride.
Well, yeah, you would still pay for the ambulance ride here too, unless you have really, really good insurance.
Yeah.
That covers everything.
Yeah,
but
there's
you
probably
gotta
some.
be like,
I might have insurance for that as well. I've never tried it though, but I'm pretty
well,
sure. I would
unless
pay
you're a
for that.
government official, you want to make everybody else go on a BS healthcare system that you would not go on yourself. Makes total sense to me.
Basically, the way that we do like dentistry and eyes is how like I think your entire like medical system is. Like we still pay for dentistry and we still pay for optometry and things like that.
I got you.
But if we're real bad, those are all optionals. Teeth and eyes optional. But like liver failure, if we need a surgery,
your teeth are falling out your face, but that's okay. It's optional.
you better buck up.
Wait. So when you chipped your teeth, your tooth, how you paid for that out of pocket? I thought you said that was covered.
That would have been covered by like work insurance. Like that would have been private. That would have been
Okay.
Yeah, teeth are
I
weird.
got you.
It's so weird, and that's why like dentists here make a lot of money. They do pretty well because they can. Just,
Oh yeah, dentists make a lot of money here.
Yeah,
man.
it's private. So like private industry. It's very straight. Although other people in Canada might be going like, what? That's not the way it is here. Alberta is very different. Alberta is about as like Texas. Alberta's like Texas. There's a lot of oil. There's a lot of cowboys. We might build a wall.
Makes sense to me. Sean, let's kick this episode off like we do each and every episode with our shout-outs.
Oh, Bobby, even the lenses have like the blue tint on them so I can stand in front of screens and everything. Holy cow. Amazing technology on my face. You love me so much. You have so much fun doing the show.
Glad that, you're like a high school girl that like you
love
tell
me.
your boyfriend that you love him. They're just like whatever.
I know. Well,
You're just like
a high school girl. I got a couple screws loose up in my head loose, up in my foot loose, Bobby.
Oh boy.
I'm so tired.
No kidding. So my first shout out has to go to Mr. CJ Chris Johnston, the Player One podcast. Good dude. So we follow each other on Twitter. This week, I saw him like have this gameplay footage of this game. It's called Assault Android Cactus.
Oh yeah, man.
Dude, this game is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like legit, really, really good. I when I saw the gameplay footage, I'm like, I'm gonna go check that out. So I went and I bought it. It was on sale. I think it was only like $5-6, something like that.
Yeah.
But bro, man, like I'm into it.
Is it
Like
good?
I just started playing. I'm like, I played tonight and I was playing right through. And the cool thing, it has leaderboards, so I can see how much better than me CJ is. Like he's ahead of me on every single, except for one level. I took the lead on him. But dude, it is so much fun, man. It's a really good game.
Chris is just a really, really stand-up guy.
Yeah.
I was talking about a game called Toe Jam and Earl over on the Xbox Drive a little while ago. Did you hear about this? Did you see about
No,
this?
I didn't hear it, but it's a bad game.
So, okay, well...
He didn't defend it, did he?
Okay, so just pause on the opinion for a second. Because I tried it. We get the ID at Xbox Games from Xbox Canada, which is very nice. You get to play a lot of indie games over there, which is sweet. So I tried out this Toe Jam and Earl for about 45 minutes. Did not love it, and I aired my opinions on their Xbox Drive. And I know that Chris listens, and midway through my opinion, Luke even said, "Hey man, I think our good friend CJ has something to do with that game." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I think I'm done talking about that.
Oh, he worked on it?
So he messages me, DMs me a couple days later, and he goes, "Hey, hope you're having a great weekend. Just listen to the latest episode. Your reaction to Toe Jam and Earl in the Groove is not uncommon. Just to let you know, while Adult Swim was involved in the game, there were a few people on our team that felt the same way." That worked on the team. I'm like, oh no, he worked with the people who worked on the game. Oh, that's so.
But a wonderful game. I love
yeah,
this
exactly.
game so much.
You know what? Everybody go buy it. Make sure that you spend top dollar on this game. What a class act, though, man. Like honestly,
he's a great guy, dude. I love him.
He really is. Yeah, I can't say. Not Toe Jam and Earl. Let's be clear. I did not enjoy that game. But Chris, so absolutely stand up, dude.
When I came back last summer, during the summertime, he was my first guest on Nintendo Talk Live, and I loved talking to him. That was the first time I actually talked to him. The first experience with him was the time that I was sitting on Twitter, and you and I were doing like the Splatfest.
Yep.
Not the Splatfest. It was Splatfest. It was the Global Test Fire, and he screenshotted it, and he like posted on Twitter and was like, "Oh my God, I was just playing with Sean Capri." Yeah. And I immediately I jump back. And I'm like, wait a minute, who's this guy?
I know. And then you click through, and it's like, oh
yeah. And I'm like, he's a somebody. Like he's done something. He's not like us. Like he's really done something. And then I was like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. So then I started following. Then he wound up giving us codes.
I know
for Battle Chef.
We might be talking about that later.
And such a good guy, really good guy.
Love him.
So, who do you have for a shout out?
I have something absolutely incredible that has happened, Bobby. It's not even to me, but something incredible.
You're not going to bring the tone down like you did last week.
No. This is good. This is very exciting. Okay. You might recall an old podcast that I used to do called We the Gamercast. We the Gamercast has this amazing thing where people who go on this show go on to write for IGN. Okay, Seamus Mullins had an article.
Did Seamus write for IGN?
He had I think it was on IGN Australia. I don't want to diminish, but I'm pretty sure it was IGN Australia. Trevor Starkey had something go on there. There's a few other people who went on to do stuff on IGN, which I think is pretty sweet. Now, this week, just got notice that our good friend Janet Garcia got hired full-time by IGN to go on their wiki team, and that is a huge... That's a huge job. It's a huge deal, man. So congratulations to Gameonesis. Don't ask me how to spell it. At Gameonesis on Twitter. She is, man, when she was on We the Gamercast and she let me know what her goals in life were, I was like, you are going to get absolutely every single one of those things, man. Wow. She talks 1 trillion miles an hour, which for me, I think is saying something. She's just blah, 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 blah. Somehow, I think she time travels. She's able to squeeze 30 hours into a 24-hour day. She's like most engineers, I think. Yeah. So very well deserved. She has been busting her tail, man. Super creative. She is on it. She's moving to San Francisco. So congratulations to Janet.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Amazing stuff, dude.
That's amazing. That's pretty impressive.
It is.
That's, I always am impressed by people that set goals and just go after it.
Yep.
And not only that, are willing to just take their lives and flip them upside down for them goals.
Yes, that's the thing. So the offer comes in and you're moving. For her, it just it's so in line. It's that's why she was the right person to get that offer. Everything just clicks. Because some people might work at it and not really believe that it would ever happen. And I also believe that if you have that in your mind, it won't ever happen. You're always going to be doing something that's going to keep yourself from getting it. But she did everything in her power to get it. She got it. She didn't skip a beat. She's moving across the country. Pretty sure she's in Illinois, the Chicago area. Holy crap, dude.
That's pretty crazy.
It's not like across
I mean,
the street.
I liken it to like when I think about like Jules and Klaus from
Right?
Zoink and Brian from Image and Form, who all left their homes
Mm-hmm.
at such a young age and moved to the United States
Mm-hmm.
to just get into game development. And I mean, Jules was already hired at a job, and then he had to take a transfer over, and it was only supposed to be like a year or so, and then he was back home. And then
That's how they get you. That's how America gets you.
He just stayed, yeah.
Just come
And
on
then,
over just for a little bit. Just spend
Klaus
the night.
came. Klaus came and he worked on some games here, and Brian from Image and Form, he came, and I'm just like, I remember having conversations with these guys and just thinking like,
You
man,
know Brian
that's
from
just
Image
like,
and Form?
would you stop it? It was like, man, for me, it was like just blown away that like you move halfway across the globe
Unbelievable.
to be like, I'm just gonna start over. Like that's nuts.
Yeah, man.
So that's impressive when people do stuff like that. Like you think about like Brian Altano and Colin Moriarty.
Mm-hmm.
They both from New York and they moved to California, San Francisco, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing, dude. Congratulations to her. That's pretty awesome.
Big time.
My final, I got one more shout out.
Okay.
And that's to Mr. Mark Carabin, good friend of mine. Having a little trying time at the moment.
Oh no.
He lost a couple grandparents
Oh, son of a...
recently, and but I reached out to him today. It's weird because Mark and I had this weird kinetic thing where we
always
cannot
know.
talk for a long time,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden I'm just like, Mark.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna message Mark, and I message him like, hey man, how's everything going? And then he just tells me, he drops it on me and stuff, and then we start having a conversation, and we just have this conversation. It's like, doesn't matter how much time's passed, it's like we've never stopped talking.
Yep.
And like, next thing you know, we're talking like, because as we're having a conversation, like a serious conversation, James Gunn gets rehired by Disney.
By Disney.
And I tell Mark, I'm like, oh my God, dude, James Gunn just got rehired by Disney. He's like, what? And I give him the link. And the next thing you know, we're talking about comic books. And he loves Aquaman. I'm asking him about Aquaman. I'm like, what'd you think about the movie? And he's like, oh my God, I loved it. And I'm like, me too. Like, let's, it turned into this whole thing. But I just want to say this. Like, Mark, if you're listening, I love you, bro. And like, I enjoyed today's conversation. It was so nice to get back into talking to you. So. You know what you got?
Very nice, man. Well, I actually I thought you might be bringing this gentleman up. Mr. Barry Dunn.
Yes.
I had a cool thing happen this week. You hosted.
Uh-huh.
Tell me about it. What was this Nintendo Direct? Or Impact Direct. My bad. Impact Direct. My bad.
So what happened was, Barry reached out to me probably, a month ago, 2 months ago, and was like, he always mentions stuff to me like that he's working on. So he was talking about this Impact Direct, and I had watched parts of the other two that he did, and I was like, these are kind of impressive that what he's doing. Like, he essentially did the Kind of Funny thing before Kind of Funny did it, meaning he went out and built his own Indies Direct thing, kind of like what Kind of Funny did earlier this year. And I just was like, man, this is really cool. And I think if our community can kind of get behind this and push on this a little bit, it would be pretty awesome to do. Off Jump Street, it's not perfect. You know what I mean? There's some things he can do to tighten it up and do a little bit. But you know what? It's a work in progress. And I'm impressed by what he's doing. And he's taking the goal to do stuff. He shared some stuff with me today that he's working on that just takes it to another level a little bit further. And it's impressive to see. But basically what it was Barry is the type of guy that if you talk to him, you'll recognize very quickly. He is very brazen. And he is not afraid to ask you anything or to approach you at any time. He will, but he doesn't mean it in a bad way. He just comes to you and starts talking to you. And he'll start asking you things. And it never comes off kind of like entitled or anything like that. It's always just like, hey, man, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? So he tells me, he's like, I would like for you to show up at the end, if you would. And I was like, what do you got in mind? And he's like, this is what I have in mind. So he sends me a script. And I'm like, well, this is simple. This is easy. I got this. So I go in, I record my part, and then after I record my part, he's like, do you want to know what game you're like announcing? And I was like, well, kind of no, but sure, why not? And then he tells me it's Chicken Wiggle, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. But he says to me, he goes, you got to do me a favor though. You got to leave and make it like you actually did the call-in thing. And I was like, all right, whatever, I don't care. That's fine.
I love it.
It was kind of cool. So, but anyway, what happens is and what I mean by he's brazen, he just reaches out to everybody, and he doesn't care about rejection. Yeah. You could tell Barry no a million times. The dude just don't care.
Yeah,
and he will keep on coming at you. And so he's made friendships over time with all these different indie developers because he has such a great personality and a great he's very, very kind and genuine. So he put together this indie direct, Impact Direct, which is like an indie direct, and it's all these games that were coming to Switch and PS4 and Xbox. And some stuff he took that was already like announced and coming out, but we hadn't heard from for a while, so he dropped that in. But like he had exclusive interview at the end of it.
That's
and all that
amazing.
stuff. And it was really, really cool what he was able to accomplish. And so I tip my cap to him wholeheartedly, man.
Totally.
It was really awesome.
Very nice.
So it was good. It was about 100 minutes long.
Yay! Wow.
Yeah, so my only critique would be let's cut it down a little bit better.
Get into double digits.
It was a little long, man. Let's get it down
to
a more manageable thing. But otherwise, dude, it was a home run, man. He did a great job with it.
That's amazing. That's a ton of work, dude, to put that together. 100 minutes. Holy crap.
Absolutely.
Good job,
Absolutely. Barry. Yeah, good job. Good job.
YouTube.com/Nintendo.
No, he changed it. He's Impact Game Station now.
Oh,
so it's IGS.
Glad I asked.
But if you do look up Nintendo Impact Gaming, you will still find his channel and stuff. So it's good stuff.
Very cool.
So
different episode.
Definitely. This week's different, right? We're taking a different route.
Yeah.
Just kind of today was a rough day for me. Like just work wise, it got really crazy busy because it got real nice out, and I was just like, by the time I got off work or midway through my day, I was like, my brain is fried.
Yeah,
I don't want to think about nothing. I just want to chill out.
That's
I just want to have
so
I was like, Sean, I just want to have a casual conversation.
And I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the exact same thing, and I got one last shout out.
Okay. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I got one last thing I want to say.
Okay.
Because I think we have at least 3 more episodes before these guys can come back with anything substantial. The Megadads can kiss my ass, okay? Adam and John, you guys can't even compete. And then, by the way, you turn on me.
I turn on you.
You say I shouldn't have access to the Twitter account and everything. We got it. This is what they predict every time this happens. They know that we're gonna fight. Okay.
Here's the deal. We're gonna solidify it.
But should we turn our attention to Justin Masson?
Yes, we should, because he took a little shot at us.
Well, son of a bitch.
And he was like, and he was like, dude, it was a little backhanded compliment that I wasn't appreciative of, and he just basically was like, if there was a podcast, if someone ever came up with an idea for a podcast, like if we ran Nintendo, like the stupid idea that is. And he's like, and I'm looking right at you, Sean Capri and Bobby Paul. And I was just like, wow. Like he just went there.
How is that a backhanded compliment?
Well, because he was, I don't know. He just straight up backhanded us. How about that?
I like it.
But even like he said that, like Jesse was like, oh.
Doesn't even know what to do. What did Eric say?
Eric?
Never mind.
Zach Erickson?
No, that's an old somebody called somebody Eric.
You try to pull a call back, and I just didn't.
Yeah, that didn't work. It was a risky one.
But the thing is like, let me tell you something, Masson. You fly off to Ireland, and you're cared about so little by that podcast that they won't even help you by changing the time of the show to make it easier on you. No, they make you get up at 4 o'clock because the loser has to get up early. and the loser gets the crappy schedule. So this just goes to show you that they could care less about you, that you are the bottom rung on the totem pole.
That's
You
for sure.
think you're the top banana, but you're not. Donkey Kong is just eating you up all day long. So, end of the day, you don't want none, Masson. Just
Also, who
stay
else wants part of this? Who else wants some? We got all day.
Oh my God.
We don't have to do topics anymore.
Todd Oxtra? Todd Oxtra wants some?
Yeah, you want some of this?
Secret Friends Unite? You want to get backhanded? Come on, we can do it. We can do it.
He's so secret doesn't even have friends.
Oh my God. Okay, so
All right.
let's get serious now. A little bit serious.
Slightly serious.
So I want to have this conversation with you.
Mhm.
That's why
Something
I
happened.
started this. So there's a rumor
Mm-hmm.
that Borderlands 2 could potentially be coming to Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you are a massive Borderlands fan.
I am.
You and Chelsea
Mhm.
played the game a lot together.
Forged our marriage. We
yeah.
actually we did our vows over Borderlands Land Connection.
No, you get this.
No, that's not true.
Stop.
Can you imagine? I bet somebody
I'm
has.
sitting there thinking, like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah,
No.
you know what? You believed it for a second. That just tells you a little bit about us, though, Bobby.
Give me a little pregnant pause. Just maybe, like,
That's how she got
That's her-
pregnant.
oh my God, would you stop it? Okay, so anyway. So basically what Gearbox, they basically tweeted out about making an announcement at PAX East, which is only in a week or two. We're only a week or two away from PAX East.
Yeah.
So they came out and they said, we're going to make we have an announcement with Borderlands. And the only thing that people can basically point to is the possibility of a heavily rumored Borderlands for Switch coming. So here's my question. The rumor right now is Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
What about Borderlands 1? Why wouldn't that come?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that they could probably do like a handsome collection kind of thing, like where they had 1, 2, and the pre-sequel. I think
Okay.
that's the only way. I honestly think that's the only way to really do it. But Borderlands 2's been on like everything, man. They put that thing on practically as many platforms as Skyrim. They did it on. They had a VR version, which actually wasn't very good. They had a Vita version, which actually wasn't very good. So maybe just give up on the Sony systems. Come on over to Nintendo. I think it would be great on Switch.
Okay, so here's my question for you now at this point. Why should I care about this game? Because I don't know anything about this series.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about this game.
Yep.
Other than the fact that you've always talked about it.
Yeah.
So it's always kind of piqued my interest a little bit.
Yeah.
But then it would go and die.
Right.
So I want to know from you, if this game comes to Switch, why should I care and should I buy it?
Yes, you should absolutely buy it, and I'll tell you why. You enjoyed Diablo that was recently released. You never played Diablo before. The game, you get to choose one of your characters. They all have special abilities, and it's very personalized to the character. And you're running around with your friends, and you're hitting up enemies, and you're doing a lot of the looting stuff. That's basically Borderlands, just in first person. You can have essentially an unlimited number of weapons, and you can go around with your friends. And if you want to like do story missions, you can totally do story missions. But like, it's not necessary to do the story missions to have fun. You just get in your cars, you drive around in these things with one, like you can be driving, and I can be on the back firing rockets, and you can be running over these little alien dog kind of things, and you're just going around having a good time. And I feel like that game is so ahead of its time that. You say, well, like, why should I care about that now? Because I honestly think that in a lot of ways that game hasn't been outdone since then. I feel like games have, like Gearbox should get a lot more credit for what they did back then, because game like Anthem is on that path, but man, they did not get it. This is a game that you can share your world. I could jump into your world if you're playing along and you got your settings to be open. I'd be like, oh, Bobby's playing Borderlands. I'm gonna go jump in with him. Next thing you know, you're playing. I'm like, I'm right there. And it is so, like, get up and go or not. Like, you can just play this game in so many different ways. It's very versatile. So I think you should definitely... But, I mean, you personally are tricky with first-person shooters.
That's a tough thing.
But the writing in this game is top-notch. It's very humorous. The style is, like... I feel like it's second to none. Just a ton of fun, man. Borderlands is a video game. I really enjoy it.
So what's the pace on it? Is it really fast paced, or is it kind of?
Yeah, it's outrageous. Everything about it is outrageous.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. What I mean by that is like, is the action flying at you fast, or is it kind of like at your own pace?
No, well, no, it's like the when you're getting into a firefight, it can get pretty intense. Like you'll roll around and there's a group of enemies and they're coming at you from kind of all over the place, and it just continues to ramp up as you get more powerful, and you get a great skill tree to upgrade your guy, and you can upgrade better weapons, and there's a whole economy that you can get into selling things, and as you get more, like it's just this really rewarding experience that as you get more powerful, you can take on more and more powerful guys. And
I think give it a shot.
Really
it's something
cool,
it's something I'll definitely probably give it a whirl, because I've heard about it talked so many times, and I feel like the excuse of, oh, it's first person, I can't play it. I need to stop that. And I need to start wearing my C-bands and pushing through, because they say that's the only way you can truly get rid of the seasickness and the nausea.
Is that what they say?
Just keep pushing through, and eventually it goes away.
I wonder if
it takes a bit.
I wonder if it has anything to do with frames per second, though. If you need 60 frames per second, I wonder how this would run on Switch.
It does have a little bit to do with frames per second, but if you watched, I don't know if you watched, this week I did a video on it with the Labo VR, and there was a developer, it's an award-winning VR developer who breaks it down and explains why he thinks it's going to do well.
Yeah.
But in that, he talks about the sickness and how if the frame rate and everything's not up, you will get sick from it. But he also says, like, just to divert a little bit, with the Labo, the reason why is because you're not holding it to your face for a very long time, and you're sitting down and everything. If you look at all the pictures, all those kids are sitting down. They're not moving around. But that aside, so what he explains the sickness, and what he says is it's something in your equilibrium that when your mind, it's something your body automatically does. So what happens is when your body is playing something and everything's fast and furious and it's moving around, but your body is sitting still. And even if but what happens is it's inevitable. You start to move a little bit, but your body starts to think like, wait a minute, everything's flying by really fast, but he's not moving. He's sick. He's poisoned. We need to make him nauseous to throw up the venom or whatever's in him to save his life. And that's basically what it is, and everybody has it. The degree of it is different, obviously, but that's what happens, where you get this secretion that builds in your body automatically that just makes you nauseous. So it takes time, and what happens is as you continue to go through, your body becomes accustomed to it, and it's no big deal. It's not a big deal. But my thing is it hit me with GoldenEye. That was the first game, GoldenEye and then Turok on
those
the
are
N64.
12 frames per second.
Yeah, and those two games got me so sick.
Dang it.
That I did not want to go back at all. So it took me years.
Oh, so you spent a whole bunch of time not even playing these types of games.
Not even trying. Because I got so sick during those games. Like, when I tell you sick, I literally would, like, lay down for hours. And I could. And the crazy thing is, it took me so long to figure out what the heck is going on. Like, why am I getting this nauseous feeling and having to lay down and killer headaches and stuff? Couldn't figure it out. And then finally I was like, man, it's every time I play that GoldenEye game, I'm done. And then all of a sudden I started to realize, like, oh, this game's making me sick. So I got to stop playing it. So that's basically what happened.
Well, yeah, man, I hope something can get you through, because Borderlands is, especially if you like Diablo, like it's just fun. There's really no true objective to it, and you can play it forever. And it's just a fun world to be in. Chelsea and I had such a blast with it, dude. And I don't know, it's one of those things that, like, I've played through the first, I've platinumed the first one and the second one. We played through a bit of the pre-sequel's not very good. Yeah. But Borderlands 2 is absolutely stellar. So for new people, you should be paying for it. You should be buying it as soon as you possibly can. For people who played it before, I'm not sure. Even with DLC, like, I'm just never really one to go like, oh, there's DLC, hooray, I'm gonna pick it up. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what if it is indeed even true. Maybe they're kind of doing a misdirect. They're also teasing Borderlands 3. It'd be interesting to see if they just simultaneously launch 3 across all the platforms.
But I think Borderlands 3 is more of an E3 announcement than a PAX announcement.
I feel like they were saying specifically PAX. Something is happening at PAX.
PAX East. They did. Which PAX East is in a couple weeks.
Right. Well, that's what I'm
So
saying.
that's what I'm saying. No, but I'm saying like I'm saying a Borderlands 3 announcement. I feel that's an E3 announcement.
Maybe.
So that's why I'm saying. And the thing is the reason why people are pointing this is this has been rumored for weeks now.
Yeah.
That this game is coming to Switch, and they, so people are pointing to it. And go, now's the time. But here's the final thing I want to ask you: the graphics are very stylized, right? Very cartoonish. So it's not like a serious looking game. It's more. That may help me too because I found that because I could play Minecraft all day long, and never get sick. But with Minecraft, it's not fast and furious. You know what I mean? Like it's a slow process. I could play Destiny as well.
I wonder if it has anything to do too, like if when it simulates stepping, or like if you're playing Minecraft, it's just like if you push forward, the guy just goes flat. Like he's not bouncing up and he's not bobbing up and down with.
When
his
you're
steps.
jumping, yes. When you're jumping, it's a lot.
Yeah, I wonder.
But with like Destiny,
that
game never gets me sick. I could play
That's
without.
So weird. That must be so frustrating.
They specifically built that game for people like me. They made sure it ran at 60 frames at all times. And all the animations were very silky smooth.
Yeah.
So that way it wasn't like that bounce up and down stuff all the time. It was kind of like you're floating as you're moving and stuff. So it's good. It's good. Which is a game that like Destiny's a game that like I jumped into a little bit and I played. And I was playing with Miguel a lot because he's a junkie. Although him and his whole squad left and went to Anthem. They started playing Anthem. And no, they like Anthem.
Oh,
they said, look,
good.
Because look, they went through the Destiny stuff. Destiny wasn't that great when it started either. A game like this is not great when it comes out the box. It takes a little bit of time for them to.
That's the thing, man. Borderlands was great right out of the box. That's the craziest thing. It came out and it was solid. The universe was fully realized from the moment that first one came out, and you just jumped into it, and everything is crazy. The power-ups you get are crazy, and oh my god, dude, I can't say enough good things. I really hope you get a chance to play.
I'm sure if it comes out, I'm sure I'm gonna check it out. I'm sure I'm gonna check it out because I want to play. Metroid Prime 4 as well. So I'm going to start pushing through some of these first-person shooter games, and I played Firewatch for a bit earlier this year, streamed it, and I enjoyed it. I didn't, and that one when I played on the PS4 got me nauseous.
What the heck, dude?
So bad. But when I played it on the Switch, it didn't get me that bad. But again, when I played the Switch, I was streaming and I was wearing the bands, so it didn't bother me. So I think I got to wear the bands and push through. So we'll see what happens. So you put a poll out to a poll, whatever, out to Twitter, and you just asked for questions.
Yeah, man.
So I want to get into that a little bit. What kind of questions we get thrown at us?
We got, well, I mean, some people take it a little bit more seriously than others, Bobby. But we should do this more often. I really like the idea. Like, we take topics every once in a while, but we don't really get to like chit chat, with the audience. We have a very gracious audience and friends who leave comments all the time. They like give this video a thumbs up all the time. They've given us tremendous reviews on iTunes and things. And we never really do like a Q&A or anything. So it's cool to be able to chit chat like this. So we'll start with. Do you want to start with Rybo? Should start with Mr. Rubel?
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, we got a question from Rybo. He said, I had a good question, but I just spent the last 5 minutes giving that gift my attention, and now I've forgotten it. So instead, for the next Switch, how would you order a hierarchy of needs? For example, better Joy-Cons might be more important to you than, say, a bigger screen. So for the things that you can enhance or change, how do you organize that, Bobby?
I mean, for me, it's very simple. It's really very simple. It's two things that I want from a Switch. You know what? Three things. I want the flap off of the cartridge slot.
Yeah.
Kind of like a 2DS or a 3DS where you popped it in and that was it. That's number one. Number two, I want the bezel eliminated. I'll take the same exact size screen with no bezel.
Snap.
And just run the glass right up to the end.
Yeah.
And then the final thing would be I would like a set of Joy-Cons on it that are more built and geared like the Pro Controller, meaning bigger buttons on the right side, a D-pad on the left side, maybe the analog sticks being just a little bit more meaty, not them little tiny analog sticks. and just call them, Pro Joy-Cons or Joy-Con Pros or whatever you call them, but just make them, and that doesn't have to come launched with it. But those three things, to me, if we got those three things, I'd be happy. I don't even need, and I'll be honest with you, I don't even need a 1080 screen.
Yeah.
I just want that bezel eliminated. I want a bigger real estate because I don't want a bigger tablet because I feel like a bigger tablet is just too hard to play.
Definitely not.
And do. I don't want a smaller one because I feel like this tablet is perfect.
Yeah.
It's a perfect size to play by yourself, handheld mode. I love it. And then now, and I know the cartridge thing is me nitpicking, but I hate the fact of trying to hold that flap down and push this cartridge in. It's just annoying.
Well, and
it
feels like it doesn't feel like it's part. It doesn't feel like the same quality build as everything else. Everything else feels solid. Everything else feels like purposeful and intent. But like this one, just kind of like it's just there. It just kind of like flops around. It doesn't really know what to do with itself. Bobby, I also agree that the size is perfect. I'm wondering what it would be like with a smaller. I wouldn't want a bigger, but I wonder what it would be like with a smaller one. Kind of like going from an XL, like when we all went from a regular 3DS to when the XL came out, we're like, oh, I love this beautiful new big screen. And then the new 3DSs came out that were normal size, and we're like, ooh. Like it kind of feels like comfortable in your hand again. And the density of the pixels is better, so in a way it kind of gives you a better picture.
To be fair, let's be fair with this. The 3DS and the regular I don't know what you call it. Just the 3DS XL against the regular, right? Mm-hmm. So the XL versus the regular. The difference is this: the regular is exactly the right amount of pixels and screen for a 3DS. When they got into these XLs, they just stretched it. Mm-hmm. They didn't ultimately fix it. So it's just like taking an image, a JPEG, and you take it from one size and you enhance it and you make it bigger. It looks like crap. It looks a little blurry. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference. So when you went back to the old one, it just got crisp.
Of course.
Because that was the true screen it should be on.
That makes sense. The funny thing is that I feel like we're both kind of talking about the next Switch as like an iteration, like a mid-generation console, rather than like not like Switch 2, not like Wii U. Like it's not a full generational gap. That's I feel like that, like, because that wasn't really clear. He just said the next Switch, and we both took it in that same way.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm really tired of these insiders, and I don't mean insiders inside the Nintendo insiders, like these financial analysts.
Oh yeah, whatever.
That are just breaking it down. We just had a report this week that was like, 2024 is when Nintendo's going to stop making Switches. Let me explain something to you people. Mm-hmm. The Switch is going to be around for years, and when I say years, I mean 20, close to 20 years. They might change the name. They might tweak it a little bit, but it's going to be the same thing. And the reason why I say this, two reasons. One, they have a 20-year deal with NVIDIA. Why would you sign to a 20-year contract with NVIDIA if that wasn't your game plan? Two, you look at the 2DS, or you look at the original DS, and you look at all the different iterations that came out. This is what they will do with this thing. There is no way that they walk away from this because this console, as I've said numerous times, it kills two territories with one stone. It basically reaches into two demographics with one stone, and that's what they need.
And of course, we've all said it before. It takes all those developers who are making games for the two different systems and puts it all into one. So there's so many good things. So I want to go back to Rybo's question in terms of like a hierarchy of needs. I have a few things that I would like out of another Switch, and I would be willing to fuse the Joy-Cons to the system, and even make it smaller if I could get all of these things. I would want Bluetooth ability with headphones built in. I don't want to buy a $50 adapter. I want to be able to use this thing like any other iPad or tablet where I can have my Bluetooth headphones and be on the train and do that sort of thing. I would like to see a more adaptive and versatile kickstand. I think if you think about the Microsoft Surface that they had, the first one, it was just like a simple kickstand, and then as they've iterated, that kickstand can go from 1 degree all the way to like over 180 degrees. So it can sit at multiple different angles on your desk. So you can just pop it up just a little bit, but you can just go all the way up.
That makes sense.
So I would like to see that. And the other thing I would like to see is very much like the new 3DS is swappable faceplates. I would love to start collecting some custom faceplates or limited edition, something to like. I don't care. I don't want to be buying new Joy-Cons to show my personalization of this. I want to replace that back piece, man. I want to make that like something cool. That's a great space.
The only way is but the problem is there's components attached to that back plate.
Okay, put it on top of it. I don't know.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there and saying.
That's a good point. I didn't know that.
But you know what? To answer the question though, when you looked at the 2D or the 3DS, those faceplates, when you took them off, the shell was still there. It wasn't like the shell exposed everything. Right. It was the shells were built around. That would be kind of cool if they built it.
That'd be beautiful. Those are things that I would trade off. I would like, because who cares if these things come off or not? Who cares? I don't want to be playing with those anyways.
Exactly. Go ahead. What's the next question we got?
Okay, this next one is a gem. It's from our good friend Garrett Bland at Bland725. Bobby, put your brain power to power. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
I agree. Josh Stapleton asks, what's... Of course not. What?
It's not. It's a hot dog. It's not
a hot dog. A hot dog is a hot dog.
Please, that's quite all right. Nonsense.
What are you going to go down the grocery aisle and you're going like, oh, I'm going to find my...
We're going down the rabbit hole. Let's just move along.
Josh Stapleton asks, what are your top 5 Switch games so far? Okay. And I would just want to jump in right quick and say that I really enjoy this question because you and I don't really get to talk about lists very much. You said we were going to talk about lists. We haven't talked about lists. My list does not include kind of the givens. Mario Kart, Rocket League, Mario Odyssey, Splatoon, Shovel Knight. Those are not in my list. So I want to like...
That's because you're an idiot. That's why.
What do you mean? What?
Because he said, what's your top 5? And you're going to purposely go away from the best games just to be different and eclectic.
Easy. Those are
like,
easy.
Stop. I have 3
Bobby's like, mine are Mario Kart, Rocket League, Mario Odyssey.
I have three honorable mentions, 3 games I think that should get recognized and noticed that I love, but like I had to pick 5. So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is in that. Dragon Quest Builders and Golf Story. I feel like those 3 games are phenomenal games that everybody should check out. So my number 5 game, Splatoon 2.
Yeah.
I love Splatoon 2. Man, I've gotten 90% of my followers on YouTube off of tournaments and matches and different stuff that I've done on YouTube and live streams with Splatoon 2. Such a fantastic game. And I love it. I've always loved it. So
that's a good game, man. You know what? My first one on my list is very recent. I think it's one of the best reasons to own a Switch, actually, is Tetris 99. Tetris.
Oh my god.
Timeless game, man. This is one of the best iterations of Tetris that there is. It's so creative. It's so on trend. It's so fetch.
Yeah.
And I man, like the first time I laid my hands on Tetris 99, I'm like, okay, that was exciting. They did the whole like it's available now. Let's check this thing out. And next thing you know, it's 2:30 in the morning on a work night. Like it was crazy. I'm just like, just one more. Like, I did so well that time. I think I'm finally like, and it's not like I'm beating the game. I'm trying to defeat all these other people. So Tetris 99.
And there's a strategy to it now. Like people have figured out there's a strategy to it.
Yeah, that's why I got to bow out. That's why I spent my time into it.
I can't play it no more because there's no way that I can compete. My number 4 game is Dead Cells. And by the way, these aren't really in any numerical order. That's a good one. Dead Cells is just one of these games that like really got its hooks in me this year and just keeps drawing me back in. And that's exactly what you said about Tetris. That's how I feel about Dead Cells. Man, I'll get this run and it's amazing and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna actually beat the boss, and then he kills me with like a little bit left and I go, oh, I gotta do one more run. And I jump in and then I start making the run. And it's like just so good. So fantastic game. Fantastic.
And in a lot of the ways that Shovel Knight, I think, had creative ways of getting you to try different things and rewarding you for doing all these different things. Like you can try and be really methodical and kill every guy, so you get all of your, I can't remember what you're collecting, the blood things or whatever, souls or whatever you're collecting.
Souls.
Or you can race through and try and get in and sneak into those secret areas before. Oh, Dead Cells is good. Fast, fluid, responsive, very, very good. My next game, Bobby, you're going to be very proud of me. I feel like this next game is a great example of everything that a sequel should be. We've kind of got away from sequels. Like we're just like, what's Splatoon 2?
Oh, I think we both got the same one on for next game.
SteamWorld Dig 2 is one of the best examples of a sequel. It takes absolutely everything from that first game, and it remembers what its core is. It knows the identity of its game. It gives you better graphics. It gives you more things to explore. It gives you a different character, but like doesn't make you feel like that's cheap or like you still miss the original, like you still miss Rusty. But I love all the new abilities, and just they learned so much from doing the first game and then going on to Heist. And then coming back to 2, holy crap, man.
So let me ask you a question. Who makes that game?
Zoink, I think, right?
Yeah. All I know is I got yelled at when I said that. But who's Image and Form? Who cares about Image and Form? I was like,
I knew I was going to be saying this too, so I thought I'd put it out there.
So I also picked SteamWorld Dig 2. That's my third game. That game is so special to me, because I fell in love so hard for SteamWorld Dig 1. And then when Heist came out, and I'm on record for saying, like, I didn't want this game. I don't know what this game is. I want Dig 2. And then I played through that game, and I fell in love with Heist so much. And then, like, paid attention to the storyline and followed the storyline and all the little things, and then go play Dig 2, and you realize, dude, when that game ends, I'm not going to do spoilers or anything, but when that game ends, if you play one Heist 2 and it comes together and you realize this trilogy is all intertwined, it is fantastic. Literally, that thing hit, credits started to roll, and so did the tears.
Yeah.
And I got very emotional about that game. And I turned the camera on right away as the credits are rolling, and I started talking to the camera, to the developers, and I bundled it up and I sent it off to them and just thanked them. And it was like, you guys did something so special here. And it's like, it is so phenomenal. And I love their games. That's no secret. I mean, I got yelled at by Sean because of it. But I
just talk about something else every now and then.
Honestly, the crazy thing is when they were done with Dig 2, I wanted Heist 2.
Yeah.
And now they give us a role-playing game. And I'm like,
so amazing. It's so incredible too, because I'm reading Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and one of the games. I thought I was gonna talk about Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is featured in there, and a lot of what they talked about in Shovel Knight was like they ended up spending like damn near a decade working on Shovel Knight because of this Kickstarter thing, and what I love about Image and Form is that they're so like they're the true independent studio. They can do whatever they want, but they've been able to bounce back and forth, still working within the same characters, still learning and building this universe as just a few dozen people working on these games. But different experiences, so they're not getting sick of it. So for us, for the players, like we're always experiencing something new. But I've said way too much about Image and Form. I should probably talk about like a TUI or something else by now. I'll give you credit though, man, because you did find that game before like really anybody was talking about SteamWorld Dig. Like you were there, and you drove about 4 hours to go kiss them on the lips.
I did. I jumped on that game in the early goings, and I'll be honest with you. That came totally from NBC. That was from listening to Brian and Pear rave about it. And I was like, I got to check this game out. And, dude, just fell in love.
It's so funny because I can still remember Scott C. Jones talking about it on Reviews on the Run here in Canada. And I remember him talking about his little, like his turtle or whatever. He got the animal wrong. He just kept calling Rusty. He's just like, what is this guy? But anyways, SteamWorld Dig 2. So I've got Tetris 99. I've got SteamWorld Dig 2. Another shout out to Mr. Chris Johnston. Because once upon a time, he reached out to us and he was like, hey, do you guys want to try out Battleship Brigade? And this game is like, it wasn't on my radar at all. I had never even heard of it, but I'm like, I'll try this free game. Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, why
Chris.
not? Exactly, yeah.
I like weird anime stuff as much as the next person, probably. Maybe a little less than, some of those people. Possibly. Some of those people. But very cool, man. Like, very, very interesting game. Very interesting take on puzzle. Very weird story. And just, like, what is with Japanese games and cooking? but I really enjoyed going back and forth from having the battles with the other chefs, and then going out into the yard, I guess, and just killing all these animals and monsters and creatures, and collecting all their stuff, and then coming back in. Very cool strategies that you're able to employ with this game on what creatures you wanted to go kill, and then bring them back in and make a specific dish. Like, I'm trying to hear the words that I'm saying to you, Bobby. It makes no sense.
No.
Like, if you haven't played this game, you're like, what is he on about? But like, I'm actually doing like I would say like that's exactly what this game is.
Yeah, it's not what you think. Like, it's got 3 different elements to it.
That's right. And
it just totally throws it on its ear. Like, you're thinking like, oh, okay, it's a puzzler. It's it's a Tetris type game. It's a side scrolling beat 'em up. It's it's just nuts.
Yeah,
man.
it's this weird like what are those like the narrative, like the novels, the visual novels. Like, it's got a little bit of that. You run around the town. You start talking with all the different characters and stuff. Like, what a it's a great game, and I delete a lot of games on my Switch. Like, I'm not going to be upgrading to these 400 gigabyte or 1 terabyte SD cards at any point.
400 gig, baby, all day, every day.
It's mostly just like because I get very overwhelmed when I have too many things to scroll through. But that's a game that is still on my Switch to this day because that is an excellent game. Bobby, what's your next one?
Fortnite. And
okay, what's your next one, Bobby?
This is a game that I played on Xbox by myself. Because when I was playing this on Xbox, Chelsea was playing it on Xbox.
I know.
And she kind of, like, hearing her talk about it was what kind of got me into it. And I started playing, and I was just like, this game is so bad. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. I'm not building. This is dumb. And I was out. And then it hits the Switch this summer, and I fell in love. And I think I know why I fell in love. I fell in love because it's the first game I ever played where I got to play with the community.
Yeah.
And, like, just play with the community. And some of my most special, like, last year, very difficult year for me. Some of my best memories of last year was just at my mom's house, in the bedroom, and I was playing Fortnite with Rybo for hours. And I would just message him and say, hey, man, you want to jump into some Fortnite? And then here's 4 hours later, we're still playing. And it was such a special moment for me that, like, to build that bond and just build a bond with a good guy that I had known prior, but not really known prior.
Yeah.
And to just he would just let me vent, and I'd just
what a good
brainstorm and throw ideas at him and all this stuff. And he would just sit there and listen. So to me, it was like one of my most special moments of 2018. And that's why, like, it's become a special, because I liken that game to Rybo.
Yeah.
When I think about playing about that game, he's the first person I think of. So it's always a special bond for me. And it's probably why I play it still to this day. Even though he's moved on to Apex, to me, it's a way for me to always have a small piece of Rybo, and just to always think back to how much I care about the guy and how much he means to me and what he's done for me. So
I'm glad you pushed through my my giggles a little bit, because
that
was very thoughtful.
You.
No,
I'm not listening to
fine.
you.
Well, it does speak to the fact, like, it's cartoony. It is very it is very Nintendo. It's playful. It's still fight to the death, but it's playful, and it does mean that we need our Mario Kart battle royale mode. That would be crazy, dude. Fortnite isn't even anywhere close to my list.
So let me stop you right there for 1 second. So because back in NASCAR, right? I used to watch NASCAR a lot. And during the All-Star races, when I first started watching NASCAR, they used to do these things where they would race for so many laps. And then when that was done, like, if you weren't within the top window, you were off. You're off the track.
Oh, that's a cool thing.
And then they would work it down to, like, the final, like, 8 and let them go at it. And then whoever won. Like, that battle royale mode would work really seriously. Like, if you jumped in, not battle mode, but if you raced and they made this gigantic track that you went through,
that'd be awesome.
And, like, they would go like, hey, man, in this interval, if you don't finish in the top 20, you're out. And now in this interval, you don't finish in the top 10, you're out.
Dude,
and
imagine Rainbow Road with 99 characters, and you're trying to, like, bumper car everybody off of the road.
Crazy.
Like, all the things. Or even, like, there could be a point system where you're racing along and you have to get these power-ups to shoot off at different targets, or kill different Goomba, or whatever, different targets and things like that. Oh, there's so many ideas, guys. If only we ran Nintendo. Can I talk about one my next game?
Yeah, good.
Stardew Valley is so special. Speaking of games,
Such trash.
are you kidding me? You don't like Stardew Valley?
No, I'm not really a fan of it. I'll be honest with you.
What?
Listen, it's a good game. It's just not for me.
Oh, you need to put a little bit more time into this, Bobby, because you love your Animal Crossing, and maybe that's it. Maybe it's because it's not Animal Crossing. Well, it's Harvest Moon.
Nothing like
it's
Animal
Harvest
Crossing.
Moon.
Yeah.
So
I'm
maybe,
not
and you're not. That's so funny to me that you could be so in to Animal Crossing, and like these games are not that dissimilar. It's not like we're talking about Doom and Animal Crossing.
I think what gets me, I think what they could fix with Stardew Valley to really rope me in is to not give me a clock that's a made up clock. If they treated it like the Animal Crossing clock that was just unlimited and it's like real time, and if I jumped in there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, dude, the time just goes so fast.
Yeah,
that it's like,
you know what though, man? Like I like it because I am able to experience all day and night. Like, because there's like that's the trade off of.
I get it. I know it's part of the game. It's the mechanic of the game. It's just that's what takes me out of it.
It's just one of those. Like, I think a lot of these sort of farming games are sort of like this because they sneak up on you. And you're playing and you're like, well, this is no different than XYZ game. And next thing you know, it's 14 hours later and you've lost your job and you're starving. You've grown a beard. You should probably shower or something. But that game is so much fun. And even the dungeon crawling in and of itself, you're going around and collecting minerals to help upgrade your gear and buying new stuff. And then you're killing all these squishy monsters and getting further down. Like, that in and of itself could be what you spend the next 3 weeks playing. Like, I connect with that way more than Minecraft, but that's just me. Yeah. It reminds me of a game that I've always wanted to get into that is not on my list, but I played a demo, is Dragon Quest Builders. I always wanted to get back to that, man. I tried that one time.
I love that game.
It just didn't land at the right time. I just need to dedicate a little bit of... You know what? That might be a train game for me pretty soon.
Yeah, Dragon Quest Builders 2. I can't wait for that game. Cannot wait for that game.
I might just wait for that. That might be what I do. So yeah, just a quick shout out to Stardew Valley. Very special, I think.
Okay. My final game, Breath of the Wild. Okay. It's hands down my favorite game on the Switch.
Yeah.
They did something special for me. I loved it. I loved, again, 2017. That was just before all hell broke loose for me. And I look back at some of the special moments of that. And hands down, some of my favorite moments of 2017 were the podcasting with you and Toby, and where we would talk about it and how Toby, Mr. Anal, was like, no spoilers. You can't tell too much, but like, it was like how we were just all playing at the same time. We're all in different areas of the map. We're all just having our own little adventures. And it was like, this is a game that you could literally go back like every year, replay it, and it's a totally different experience every time you play it. And that's,
I'll never do that.
To me. Well, because you don't like good games.
I like that game plenty. I put about 80, 90 hours into that game. It's a great game. It's a great game.
I mean, you do a podcast called the Xbox Drive. It's understandable.
What does that have to do with anything?
You just like bad things.
Hey, shout out to the Nintendo Shack. They're replaying that game. They're actually going through it. So if you guys are feeling nostalgic for that, I guess you could also listen to Nintendo Nostalgia. Yeah, very cool. Yeah. But I'll never. I would like to go back. I don't know what it is, man. I don't want to play it again.
Never.
My last game.
You had such great games like Crackdown you're playing. I understand.
I'm not playing Crackdown. You just take it easy. One game that I do want to go back to, though.
Luke, Laura, John Wall, Megadads, that bum. They're just like loving it. It's like, grow up, guys.
Oh God, you're this guy. They're gritting their teeth right now. Okay, you don't have to.
I know, that's fine. I love
go after John Wall though. You can go after. He loves Firewatch and he likes Crackdown.
Yes, he likes.
Crackdown, you know what? Crackdown's good for just like turn your brain off completely and you just go wander around. But there's other.
Well, John Wall don't listen to the podcast anyway, so I could care less.
That's true. Well, go ahead.
So it doesn't matter.
Mario and Rabbids is my final game, Bobby. Very special. This is a very unique game. I think everybody should like in a world where where I'm looking at like top 5 games that people should play, maybe they didn't. It's kind of how I took this question because I feel like everybody who's got a Switch has Breath of the Wild, which is why that's not on there. In all seriousness, I think that's just such a given. Absolutely, that is one of, if not the best game. I was actually at EB Games last week with Lincoln. We were killing some time, and I got to watch a dad buy his son a Switch, and it was so odd, dude. It was like right out of a commercial. The guy's like, "Okay, so like, what games are there? Like, what games should we get him?" And the staff guy takes him over to the area. And he's like, yeah, the kids will probably like all the Mario games and everything. And you can see the dad kind of like scanning through, and he's like, oh, look at their Zelda. He's like, I think I want Zelda for me, and like get him for like whatever he picks out, I'll pick up for him. And I'm like, oh, that is so awesome, man. Like, that is exactly why the Switch is doing so well, is because that moment has happened 17 trillion times, give or take, over and over again. But to my original point, Mario and Rabbids is emblematic of what Nintendo is doing this generation that they have never done before, which is trust and bring the third parties in a way that we weren't asking for, but is way better than we ever wanted. When in the Wii U era, we wanted better relationships with third parties, and they're just like, well, here's Mario. Take him. Do something cool with him.
Yeah, but do something amazing.
And it trusts that Nintendo fans are smart, because that game is hard, and it is not your typical Mario just play around. Game is difficult and makes you think about what you're doing, and I love that about that.
I remember, because we were doing the podcast then, and things were so jacked up for Nintendo then. And it was like we were just begging for games.
I know.
It's just nuts. I never thought we would see it.
You know what, man? Like, I'll take anything. Just give me even the Devil's Third. I'll take the Devil's Third. Come on, please.
I never wanted that. I didn't care if they gave me that game. I didn't want that game. It's probably the one game I should have bought.
Yeah, maybe just for rarity. So Josh Stapleton, thank you for that awesome question, man. We got a couple more. I think one might just close things out. But Matt Knight, Skinny Matt, asked, if Nintendo was to get a game that is service-based, such as Sea of Thieves, Destiny, do they go with third-party developers or make it in-house?
I mean, look, they're already kind of getting into that service-based type stuff with the Splatoon and, and with everything they're doing anymore, with Mario Aces and all this stuff. Like, they're kind of taking these games and just letting them build this life of their own, so to speak. But I mean, why not just go third party? Like, why or second party? Just go second party.
I'm gonna do maybe second party.
I don't think Nintendo. Okay, this is why I say this. I don't think Nintendo has the want, the desire, or the ability, unless they were to go hire a brand new team to kind of go off and branch off and do that stuff. For me, I look at a studio like Retro.
You say this, man. I really
am. I look at a studio like Retro, which is essentially a first party, but it's a second party studio. I feel like that's a company that you turn around to and you go, okay, you're done with Metroid Prime 4. Now I want you to do something. Go do something on your own. But we want it to be this type of game and go have fun with it.
Maybe. You know what I think?
I think they could do a good game.
I'll tell you what I think. I think that if this question came up prior to Breath of the Wild and it was phrased, if Nintendo was to get another open world role-playing action adventure kind of game, such as Zelda, should they do it internally or should they go to somebody else who's figured this out? And everybody would have said, give it to somebody who's figured it out because we want a game that's like that has Western RPG influences. Instead, they put their heads down, they got to work, they figured out what is it that makes those games special, but then they wrapped up a whole Nintendo magic around that instead. I think there is a tremendous amount of opportunity for somebody to figure out how to take these shared worlds to the next level. I think it's pretty formulaic at this point. Nintendo can just like keep their secret ninja teams off in the corner for the next 6 years and figure this out. And for that, only if they did it that way is my answer the way that it stands. If not, if they need something soon, then obviously give it to somebody who's figured it out.
The funny thing is you mentioned real quickly, and it makes me laugh because I remember when Breath of the Wild came out, and people were like tweeting like, "Oh, Nintendo ripped off From Software and Dark Souls." Like this game is and From Software came out and just basically were like, "We've been ripping off Nintendo for years. It's okay if they take one back."
Right.
And it's like,
I know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like that's a thing, So it makes me laugh. So go ahead. What's
the last question comes from our good friend Delvin Cox.
Okay.
Very nice. He's always been promoting us. He's a
great guy. Great guy. I love that guy.
He says, "What's your favorite year of Marvel movies?" And he said, "Hey, you asked us anything." You said.
Well, favorite year of Marvel movies. We're just gonna make it our favorite Marvel.
I don't even understand what that means, so we're gonna say, "What's our favorite Marvel movies?"
I think Twitter doesn't let you edit, and I think he probably typed something and didn't realize he mistyped what he was trying to say.
Possibly.
I think that it's hard because I feel like with Marvel, a lot of movies get to be become very samey, meaning they just feel identical. Like you know, nothing. I don't know. There's just something about the movies that nothing feels. It all feels choreographed. It all feels very like on par. Like here it is. This is what's going to happen.
Beat,
It's beat for beat. You know what's going to happen. But my favorite movie in the Marvel universe has to be Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Oh, dude, I even wrote down the exact same thing.
Yeah. It's definitely. Because here's my definite. Like, to me, the greatest comic book movie of all time is The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you're able to pull Batman, pull the Joker out, you have a fantastic movie at the core. And that's the same way I feel about Winter Soldier. Agree. If you pull Captain America out, you pull all these characters out, it's a great spy movie. And that, to me, is like, that's what makes a great movie. So to me, Winter Soldier is just like, hands down, bar none. I could watch that movie over and over and over again. I've watched it a million times. I love that movie. It's a really well done movie. So that would be my favorite one.
They took out all of the nonsensical, just like, well, now we're going to have all these people just smashing heads and explosion. We're going to destroy New York City and all this craziness. You take all that out, but it doesn't feel cheap like Ant-Man or like lesser than. Like, it still feels like a big deal movie. And I just love it, man. I feel like it's got like great style. And I could rewatch that thing, just like you said, hundreds of times over. So, you know, it's. I think he was maybe trolling you a little bit to make you just give a little bit of appreciation to Marvel. So I love that you threw a little DC back in there.
Well, always. The one thing I will say, too, is the shocker that I loved, that I never thought that Deadpool.
Yeah.
Man, that's funny. Dude, Ryan Reynolds kills those movies, man. They are so good. And because they're identical to the comics, they just nail it.
Yeah.
Like, and now I'm curious how a third one would be now that Disney owns them. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see how it all pans out. So that is all. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of If We Ran Nintendo. We really, truly appreciate the support and the love. Do us a favor. Stop what you're doing right now. Jump into the iTunes store. Rate the podcast 5 stars, leave a review. We would appreciate it wholeheartedly. It means a lot. It helps us get exposure, helps us move up the spotlight and let people see us. If you want to follow Sean Capri, head over to Twitter. Follow Sean Capri, Sean like Connor, Capri like the pants. Follow me as well at Nintendo Gurus. That is all. Peace out, Preston.
Bye, Toby.